Right now,
Today
53.
we'll tackle tough times in California.
The economic troubles facing San Diego will be the focus of Mayor Jerry Sanders' annual State of the City address.
Reports a 60% hike in rapes where either one or both people.
UCLA researchers track the progress of 50 sarcoma patients using
From the KPBS studios, this is San Diego Week.
Good evening. I'm Joanne Ferry, and Gloria Penner has the night off. Thanks for joining us. Budget cuts at a local charity force more homeless out in the cold this weekend. The city drafts a $4 billion redevelopment wish list, and a journalist speaks out about her time in an Iranian prison. And of course, here in San Diego, what everyone is talking about, the big game. We'll hear from Aztec basketball coach Steve Fisher, a man who knows what it takes to win on the national stage. That's coming up on San Diego Week. But first, the headlines. KPBS reporter Peggy Pico joins me from the KPBS News Center. Peggy, there were some big developments this week on marriage rights for same-sex couples. What happened?
Joanne, the White House announced this week that it would no longer defend the federal ban on same-sex marriage. Soon after that decision, two same-sex couples asked the Court of Appeals in California to immediately let them marry. The court has not yet responded to their request. The San Ysidro port of entry is about to expand. Mexican and U.S. political leaders met at the port on Thursday to break ground for the expansion that could double traffic flow across the border. The expansion is projected to cost more than $550 million, and Phase 1 is expected to be completed by 2014. And teaching jobs at the San Diego Unified School District may be cut because of a projected budget shortfall. Just over 900 jobs in the district could be eliminated. Most of those jobs belong to teachers in kindergarten through high school. The school board has until March 15th to notify teachers who may lose their job. You can see all of these stories and more on our website at kpbs.org. Joanne?
Many of San Diego's homeless will endure bitterly cold temperatures and rain this weekend. A cold storm system from Alaska is responsible for near freezing temperatures. Father Joe's villages used to open up their dining hall floors on cold nights to take in hundreds of homeless. But this year, that isn't happening. I spoke with Father Joe Carroll earlier to ask him why. Welcome, Father Joe. Why won't your dining hall be open to the homeless this weekend?
It's simple. We have no money. It costs money to open up because, you're bringing in, last year we brought in like 400 extra people, let's say. That's 400 dinners, 400 breakfasts, staff to monitor them, taking showers. Showers sound simple, but every drop of water I pay the city for. And we all know how expensive water is becoming. And we just can't afford it. We just laid 30 people off last week. We had a terrible year, and I just don't have any money.
So are people giving you less money because of the economy?
It's a result of the economy, a result of all phases. There was a change a couple of years ago, as KPBS and we know, in the automobile law. That led to less cars. That means less donations. People, I say it, but wills, we normally do very well in wills. Last year, there weren't a lot of wills. People are afraid to donate. It's not that they can't, but the economy going up, down, around, they're just not sure where they stand. And so donations went down. The need went up. Because like I said, we normally house 900 a night. With the city's 220, we still took in 400 extra people. So the need is there, and that just kept draining us, but we kept doing it because we needed to do it.
So how much less money do you have this year over last year?
$4 million.
So you laid off 30 people. You're not going to open up this shelter.
Right. We closed our day center, which used to have 150 people a day taking showers from the street. They can't go in our facility to take showers anymore. This cut is probably cut. We have about 165 children in the building. Used to have 50. Got another 165 homeless children. We had all-day services. Now they'll just have morning. We won't be able to provide any after-school services or evening services, which at times the parents go to classes, but we just can't afford to pay for all that. We'll cut back on the medical clinic a little bit, but every program has been cut.
We know this weekend we're going to have cold temperatures, near freezing temperatures. What happens to those 400 homeless people that normally would be sleeping in your dining hall?
They will stay out on the street, get sick. end up at one of the hospitals where it will cost us thousands of dollars. Got to give credit to the police department. They are going door to door saying, can you take 10? Can you take 5? They realize this is going to be an extremely dangerous weekend. The police department is trying. They called us up and we said, we just have no money. We just can't do it. And normally they rely on us and taking in 400 people. It's not there this year.
And I think there's also a misperception out in the community sometimes that homeless means your typical 40 or 50-year-old male, but it's not the case, right? We're talking about families and children
Families
as well.
and children. I mean, I was down at my children's center today, and 165 children. We built the building for 50, and there's 165 homeless children with their parents, but the parents are in class, and so we're providing as much program as we can. But again, we like to think we're an intensive, high therapeutic program, but all that's got to be cut back now.
Have you ever had to do this before?
No. I've had to tighten the ship, but never had to make 30 cuts in a weekend. At our shelter up in the Palm Springs area, we closed one of the buildings completely. I've had to tighten my belt, but never cut programs before. And it's not fun, because I live at the village, so I will drive right by these guys freezing on the street, feel guilty about it, but realize I don't have any choice, because if I keep doing it, I'll have to close other major programs next month.
Father Joe, thanks for being here.
Thank you for having me.
Meanwhile, the city of San Diego is adding more than 300 emergency beds for the homeless this weekend because of the cold weather. Some of the shelters are also in critical need of blankets and plastic sheeting. Donations can be dropped off at the winter shelter at 1625 Newton Avenue. Mayor Jerry Sanders and other local officials released a $4 billion wish list this week for redevelopment projects for San Diego. City leaders are hoping to put funding in place for the projects in case a proposal to eliminate local redevelopment agencies is approved later this year. KPBS reporter Katie Orr joins me now to talk about what's on that list. First, Katie, give us a little background. What are redevelopment agencies?
These are agencies that cities and counties set up that are meant to fix up rundown areas. They're called blighted in redevelopment terms. And what happens is the agencies get to collect the property tax dollars, or a portion of the property tax dollars that are generated within their boundaries, and put that money back in to their area to promote development and regrowth in that area.
The governor wants to get rid of them. How come?
Because the state is facing a $26 billion budget deficit, and he believes that these property taxes that redevelopment agencies collect could be better spent on other services.
So now the city, as you reported earlier this week, is trying to get a number of these projects on the books. Give us a snapshot of what some of them are.
Well, we are talking about a $4 billion wish list, as you said, and they run the gamut, everything from parks to infrastructure to expanding the convention center, not a Charger Stadium, we should say that is not on the list, but some of these projects won't be complete until 2050, so this list reaches decades into the future.
And how do redevelopment agencies plan on paying for all of this? If they put it all on this list, 2050, how do you pay for it?
Well, it says, like I just said, it's tax increment financing is what they call it, and they have projections. They figure out that if we have development in this area, we'll get this much tax increment, and so they make their plans that way. And again, they collect some of the property taxes from that area and put it back into the area to promote growth. And the thinking is that that money will also, some of it goes into the general fund, which rises the tide for the whole city. That's the thinking.
They borrow some of this money too, right? Isn't this through bond issues?
Yes, absolutely. They have to go to the bond market to get the money up front to build for these projects, and then they pay off the bonds.
Now, the city of San Diego, along with a number of other cities, have this proposal on this table, a sort of compromise. What are they suggesting to the governor?
Well, the cities do not want to see redevelopment go away. So they are suggesting that the state take out a $1.7 billion bond, which would make up for the money that it would otherwise get if it eliminated redevelopment agencies. And then the agencies would pay back $200 million a year to pay off that bond. That is the basis of their plan.
And how has Governor Jerry Brown reacted to all of this?
He is not a fan of that plan. His spokesman told me that any plan that relies on borrowing or one-time fixes is something that will not fly with the governor.
What happens next?
So On Monday, the City Council will vote whether to go forward with this $4 billion project. And once that happens, presumably these projects can go forward. But the governor's proposal says any projects brought forward after January 1st of this year will face intense scrutiny and possible cancellation in the following 3 years.
Including those projects on the $4 billion wish list.
Including those projects.
Great. Thanks, Katie Orr.
Thank you.
Images of protesters rising up against repressive regimes in North Africa and the Middle East have been the focus of our attention for weeks. Whether peaceful or met with violence, these protests exhibit deep frustration with dictatorial rule and lack of individual rights. Roxana Saberi is a journalist who has first-hand experience with this. 2 years ago, she was arrested, tried, and convicted of espionage in Iran. She is author of the book Between Two Worlds, and she joins me now to share her insights into the struggle for freedom. Thanks, Roxana, for being here.
Thanks for having me.
I want to talk a little bit about your background. First of all, I read that you were born and raised in Fargo, North Dakota. It's a long way from Fargo to being in an Iranian prison. What led you there?
Yes, actually, I was born in New Jersey, but I spent very little time there. But I spent most of my youth in Fargo. I went to Iran because my father is Iranian, and I had not been able to ever go to Iran before. I wanted to learn the Farsi language better. I wanted to learn about the rich Iranian culture and history, and also to be able to report from Iran because I knew it would have stories for years to come that were important for the world.
And how did you end up being arrested?
I was reporting there. I lived there for about 6 years in Iran, and then I started working on a book about the Iranian society. I worked on it for about 2 years, doing many interviews, a lot of research, and I was about to leave the country. The authorities, there were 4 intelligence agents who came to my home, and they arrested me, and they took me to the most notorious prison in Iran called Evin Prison. And they claimed that that book that I was writing was a cover for espionage for the United States. This is a very common charge, espionage, in Iran, especially toward journalists or people who are independent-minded or outspoken. They often use it for political purposes or as a way to silence people.
So you spent, is it 4 months?
Yes, about 3.5, 4 months.
You were released in 2009. You have since written a different book, not the one that you intended, about your experience. What is it that you want people to know in terms of what you went through?
I'd like people to know a few main things. One is that what I went through was in many ways a pattern for what many political prisoners or prisoners of conscience go through in Iran. From the detention and being barred access to an attorney for a lengthy period of time, being cut out from the outside world, being in solitary confinement, being told to lie to my family about my whereabouts and why I was arrested and so on. Then going through a sham trial and facing fabricated charges and fabricated evidence. These are all very normal for many prisoners in Iran. I was not physically tortured, although physical torture does happen in Iran's prisons. There are reports of sexual abuse. People have died in Iran's prisons. There's also something called white torture, which does not leave a mark on your body but can devastate your mind and your conscience. And that is something that many prisoners went through and something that human rights advocates told me that I went through. That's the definition of it, they said. I'd also like people to know that about the women I met in prison, other political prisoners I met after I was taken out of solitary confinement, who were being punished for simply peacefully standing up for basic human rights, such as freedom of speech or freedom of belief. And they taught me many lessons which I think are very timeless and universal. And of course, many of us don't go to prison, and I hope many of us never will. But we all have our own prisons or our own adversities that we face. And they taught me that when we're faced with adversities, the best way to deal with them is to be true to our principles. And when we do, that is the surest way, even though it might be the hardest way, to true freedom, to the freedom of one's conscience. And the last message, the main message that I try to tell in the book and when I go and do talks is that we who are free have the responsibility and the ability to be a voice for the voiceless. Whether those people are in our own communities or the other side of the world, they need us to speak out for them because otherwise they feel alone. And when we do speak out, they feel empowered to stand up to injustices.
So given that experience, given that message, how do you see now these popular uprisings throughout the Middle East and North Africa. How are you viewing this from your point of view?
I think there are a lot of similarities among them, including similarities with Iran's case, although there are many differences as well. But some of those similarities are, I think, that many of these uprisings are led by young people. There's a large youth population in Iran. The large majority of Iranians are under the age of 30. Many of them are in touch with the outside world through technology. In Iran, satellite TV is banned, but still a lot of people have satellite TV. They look through the internet to see what's going on in the world, even though many websites are filtered, and they realize what is happening in the world. I think young people in these countries are more aware of universal human rights, and they want their rights observed too. They want a better economy, they want better jobs, they want to be able to have free and fair elections, they want to have social freedoms, they want to have, I think, religious freedoms, they want to be free from fear, and they want to feel that they have a role in their own destinies and in the destinies of their countries.
Thank you. Thanks, Roxana Saberi, for being here.
Thanks for having me.
By now, you've probably heard all the buzz about the San Diego State's men's basketball team. They rank among the top 6 teams in the nation. And tomorrow, in a game that everyone's talking about, they face BYU, the only team they've lost to all season. Many people credit the Aztec success to head coach Steve Fisher. Dwayne Brown has this profile of a man who knows what it takes to win on the national stage.
He may look like a college professor with his horn-rimmed glasses. Steve Fisher is actually a mathematician who could be named college basketball's Coach of the Year.
I started out as a high school teacher in 1968 back in the suburbs of Chicago. And my charge then was to help motivate, excite young people for all sorts of things.
Win on 3. 1, 2, 3. Win! Everybody with the ball.
Fisher has been a head coach for 21 years, but he says his greatest lesson came off the court.
I taught math for a long time. Most people don't like math, so we tried to make it fun. We tried to make it interesting. We tried to relate it to life.
Hey, rebound your own ball!
Math is about problem solving.
Math is about a whole host of things, exactly. And what it did for me, it allowed me to develop a relationship with young people outside of the gymnasium, away from the basketball court.
Fisher has been coaching at San Diego State for 12 years now. He says college life is about adapting to change, new faces, and a different environment.
Harder now than when I was a kid, when you were a youngster. In the old days, it cost me $37.50 a semester to go. I had a teacher education scholarship. I made $1 an hour working in the cage, passing out towels for spending money.
Today, Coach Fisher earns $550,000 a year.
Carwell's done a great job for us.
That doesn't include bonuses for winning his conference championship or going to the NCAA tournament. Making sure his players get a college degree is still his top priority.
We're proud of those who have come and helped us win championships, but we're every bit as proud of those who have come and not only helped us win, but have graduated.
Graduation rates for all Division I athletes reached 78% in 2008, an all-time high. Aztec basketball ranks 3rd in their conference with a 60% graduation rate, and the numbers are steadily improving.
And we check classes. If you don't go to class, you don't practice. If you don't practice, you don't play. So there's an emphasis to go.
With 5 seniors on the team this year, Fisher has turned San Diego State into a national powerhouse. It has the best record in college hoops right now.
You know, when success happens, you know, everybody's your father. And when it's just a struggle, you're an orphan. Ain't nobody there.
What's your advice on handling success?
Don't get too full of yourself. We talk every day about close your eyes and dream big. And if you can't and don't and won't, you probably won't achieve to the level that you can.
Fisher has taken his team to heights never seen before in San Diego. The Aztecs have won 27 games with only 1 loss this season.
If I have a strength, I think it's allowing players to truly believe they're a little better than they actually are.
And Fisher's connection to SDSU goes back more than 40 years when he was a part-time basketball player for Illinois State.
We beat the San Diego State Aztecs in 1967 in the national tournament in Evansville, Indiana. Isn't that ironic that all of a sudden now I'm part of San Diego State athletics?
What a
amazing.
Small world. What a small world.
Fisher went on to coach at Michigan in 1989. That's where he got a taste of both victory and something else.
You did win a national title at Michigan. Do you have any regrets about being fired?
Yes. I mean, I thought they were going to name a building after me. That's what I thought.
Instead, he was sent packing for violations involving booster money given to some of his players.
I lost my job. I felt sorry for myself for a while, but life goes on. I dusted myself off and moved on and wound up here.
Today, all Fisher wants to do is ride his current wave of victories into early April.
We are determined to make this the year that San Diego State gets their first postseason NCAA Division I win.
At 65 years young, Fisher says he's looking forward, not backward.
I'm at a stage of my career where, one, I don't worry about getting fired. I'm not going to get fired. I'm going to go out on this one on my own terms.
KPBS reporter Eric Anderson has been following the loyal and legendary Aztec student rooting section. They were there in lean times, and now with success, they have plenty of company. The team has been selling out game after game. Eric, tell us about these die-hard fans.
Well, the great thing is that you can't miss them when you go into the arena. They stand on their feet the whole time. An hour before the game, they're standing on their feet, doing cheers, doing activities, and then during the game, they're just so loud and organized and really involved in the game that it's something that you notice and you keep looking back at and you keep enjoying, and it really kind of draws you in. It builds the experience inside of an Aztec basketball game. And even before the team's great success, they were there. They were there. In fact, they took on this own persona that they had. They got their name, The Show, back in '04, when someone suggested that perhaps they were trying to steal the show from a basketball team that wasn't enjoying the level of success of the current team. And they liked that, so they stole the name, and they became The Show. And they take pride in the fact that they're noticed, and that's what they really try to do. Now, you went to a game last week. It was against New Mexico. You were there with photojournalist Christopher Maui, and you and Chris put together a package for us, so we all get to see these fans now in this montage.
Shows the student section at San Diego State.
I believe that we will win! I believe that we will win!
It's been around since the 2004 season. We try to create pretty much the best home court advantage that we possibly can for San Diego State, for the basketball team.
The I Believe chant is probably one of our favorites this year. From other head coaches and other players that get interviewed that they talk about the show. And I feel like this year it's really taken off, and we're one of the best student sections in the nation, if not the best.
We do everything from finding personal information about the players that we can chant to distracting players with our cardboard celebrity head cutouts. We haven't lost a single home game this year. We only lost one last year. So I'd say that there's a pretty big home court advantage at Viejas Arena. We love making noise. We love being loud. We love the Aztecs.
Now, they look like a lot of fun, but also can raise some concerns. Officials are a little bit worried about tomorrow. Big game. What are they worried about?
Well, of course, there's going to be a national television audience watching the game on television around the country, and the university wants to make sure that they put their best foot forward. They don't want to see any embarrassing signs. Last year, for example, when BYU came to town, many in the student section decided to wear white shirts, skinny black ties, and bicycle helmets, kind of a poke at the student body at BYU. The officials, actually, Steve Fisher sent out a letter to the students this year where he asked them to keep it clean, keep it above board, keep in mind that they're trying to project a good image, and university officials are going to be checking signs as students walk in.
And we'll get to see for ourselves tomorrow, game time 11 o'clock. Thank you so much, Eric Anderson. And now here's Peggy Pico with an update on what KPBS is working on next week.
Thanks, Joanne. Tune in to KPBS Morning Edition on Monday to find out how San Diego public school districts are banking on a special election to bail them out, even though that election may not happen. And on these days, we'll hear about efforts to improve health in San Diego's low-income African-American community.
Thanks, Peggy. You can comment on any of the stories you saw tonight by going to our website at kpbs.org/SDweek. We'd love to hear from you. Now, here's a look at your weekend weather forecast. Thanks for watching. Good night.